guys, welcome to Author Confession. It's Valentine's week, and that means we've got some serious love stories going on. So to start, I thought I'd share with you my top 3 favorite literary couples. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't read a whole lot of romance. It's not really my genre, but I love YA, and for whatever reason, the young adult authors love to stick in at least one love story, if not a triangle or two. So, here are my 3. First, in Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling, of course, I absolutely adore Remus and Tonks. I just think they are the cutest couple. Remus is just such a nice guy, but he's had kind of just a bum deal, and so the fact that he found Tonks, who is absolutely adorable and charming and funny, they just make like the perfect couple, and I love them. I think they're wonderful. My second couple is actually in Rochelle Mead's book Bloodlines, and that is Sydney and Adrian. And their love story, I think, is a little personal to me because it kind of reminds me of me and my husband. I am absolutely a Sydney, type A, workaholic, coffeeaholic, who just wants to have everything right and perfect and tends to kind of go overboard. That's absolutely me. You can ask my husband, who is coincidentally Adrian. He's the broody, artisty, just kind of swoon-worthy guy who is laid back, and he brings out the best in Sydney and kind of tells her to calm down, and I think that the two of them just temper each other very well. And again, like I said, I may be biased. And my third one, which I'm sure I'm going to get so much flack for, but I don't even care, like, no shame, because when I was growing up, this was totally, like, a big thing, and I was absolutely a twihard. Although I will say I was a fan before the books came out, for whatever that matters. But it's not Edward and Bella. I am absolutely 100% Team Jacob all the way. I mean, Edward was cool and all, I guess, but he was just too perfect. I really liked the Jacob dynamic. I thought he balanced Bella out very well. He was good for her. He wasn't like this kind of guy that she was always pining over and swooning over. It seemed more realistic and more believable to me, and I just thought that they paired together much better. So I really liked the dynamic between those two, and I was really, really upset when she ended up with Edward. In fact, I'm still a little upset at that one. I'm not even gonna lie. So there you go. There's my confession, and I'm sure that I'm gonna get so much flack for the last one especially, but I've got to confess, so I confessed. Now it's your turn. So tell me, whether it's embarrassing or not, because I already got that out of the way, what is your favorite literary couple? It's Valentine's. Give us a little bit of love. Now it's time for our author confession segment. Joining us today is Fatema Tuzora. She is the author of The Undefeated Kingdom. Fatema, would you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, sure. So I wrote this novella last year in around from January to April, and this novella is about a boy who was brought up in a poor environment, and this is a story that dates back to the 6th century AD in Arabia, when there was no law. It was the land of the lawless, and how he, coming from a background that wouldn't support his dreams, actually fights all odds and gets to not only become the king, but he defends his kingdom against all the other forms of odd things they would be coming across. So this is basically a novella on triumph and to beat your odds. And it's within our capacity to want to do so. It doesn't matter if in our circumstances we are the oppressed or we are the victor.
Right. Very cool. And yeah. I mean, right now especially, we could all use a little bit of story about triumph and defeating all odds.
Yes.
So
yes.
Very timely. Well, tell us, where did you get the idea? 6th century Arabia. I mean, that's not recent.
That isn't. So you know what I was thinking about? History has a way of repeating itself. And despite the weird thing that we think, oh, technology has changed, society has evolved, so there should be no reason why barbaric rituals or barbaric practices will be relevant today. But yeah, even though we wouldn't say, oh, these barbaric practices are not relevant today we have different types of things we're trying to overcome. So take sexism, for example. We had it back then, we have it today. Maybe the faces have changed, but we still have it. So once I heard about this, there was a story I heard about a king just like beheading somebody for treachery. And I'm like, okay, that happened, but today and maybe it was unjust at that point. Beheading, it just seems like crazy, like it's just too bad. So I'm like, but you still have a form of unjust practices today where you're just. I'm not somebody who's in support of lethal, just execution of that style. So thinking about all this, I started reading about 6th century Arabia and their lawlessness, the things they did in lawlessness. And then I crafted a kind of, it has elements of romance, of a man wanting to find love. And there is a woman, basically the main character, and a woman who wants to be in the war. She wants to be in the front line of the war too. And in those days, it wouldn't be something she could accomplish. So the kind of sacrifices, the kind of turns she has to take to come to the forefront. So those were the elements that really inspired me. Just knowing, I think we as writers, we have a lot of stories in the history that are relevant today and will oddly be relevant in the future, the elements. So basically, that's how I went all the way back to Arabia, 6th century Arabia.
Very cool. I like it. It sounds like it's got a lot of interesting elements going on. Definitely a fascinating read for sure.
Right.
So what is then, it sounds like your main character, MC, has a lot of stuff that he has to do. What is probably the hardest thing you think he has to do in the story?
Well, the hardest thing that he has to do is knowing that in the story is that so you know how when somebody is poor or somebody's in a situation where they have no influence and they have to overcome those odds, basically you are in terms with your situation. You're like, okay, I don't have any powers. But once somebody rises to power, then I think one of the hardest thing anybody has to do is knowing that somebody who's your loved one is going to stab you in the back. And how do you deal with that? How do you come to terms with somebody who helped you come to where you are is the one you have to put down to move ahead?
Yeah.
Because those are two different types of tests. One test is just being in a helpless situation, and the other test is having all the power in your capacity, but having to come to terms with the situation to unleash it on somebody who you're emotionally attached with.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, and going from one extreme to another in the span of a book would probably be even more challenging. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be tricky. So what is your favorite part of the story?
My favorite part of the story is just me, actually, throughout the story. I think this happens to all of us, that we feel sympathetic towards the character, but then again, you can't be sympathetic because life, I don't think, is sympathetic. Life is such a thing that it's not sympathetic to anybody, given wherever you are. So my favorite part of the book was knowing that, in my character, I found relief. I'm like, see, life is hard. Like, once I read this somewhere, that the best way to help yourself is to advise yourself as you would be advising to your friend. Uh-huh. So think of your problems as it's of a friend and then advise her. So when when this character was going through difficulties, I was telling it, I was like, listen, you know what, just be fine. You're going to be okay. But no, don't do that. Don't do this. And all of those things. So I think the journey was my favorite part. It is a journey. Every book is a journey. So that was I will say, a holistic journey was my favorite part, not one particular thing.
Very cool. It sounds like you and your characters are very close, which is really neat. And as an author, like you develop these relationships. So it's
is it bad to be so close to the character? I don't know. I want to ask you, is it bad?
I don't think so. I think it helps you to put yourself in the character's shoes. I mean, my story is a post-apocalyptic fantasy, and I mean, I feel like even though obviously a lot of things in my book aren't real, I feel like if you don't have that kind of connection to the character, then your readers aren't going to either. I mean, if you don't care about the character, why would your readers, you know? So
exactly, yeah. Sometimes I feel like when, you know, okay, I come into this dichotomy where I'm like, you know what, if I was there, I wouldn't do that. But my character does it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just like, you know, trying to channel this place where I'm torn apart between, I wouldn't do that, but she is, okay, but I have to tell her story. So, yeah. One of the things.
Yes, when those characters don't listen, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, part of the reason I actually wanted to interview you was when you had responded to me. Your reason for wanting to be on the show was it was so profound, and you said that there was some specific advice that you wanted to give to writers, and I would love for you to share what you had said.
One of the things that I wanted to share with people was that it's okay. You know, some days you're not saying it right, you're not writing it the best way you possibly could, but just write it down. The point is to be able to write it down. As a writer, you can be writing about fantasy, you can be writing about history, you can be writing like historical fiction, but the reality is we are writing some part of ourselves in it. So it's so important to like dig through within us to deal with the things, our emotions, the uncertainties and our fears. So I wanted to tell people that whoever watches this or hears us talk, I just want them to know if you're afraid, you're all right.
One last thing, and then I will let you go.
Yeah.
Would you like to ask a confessional question for my viewers? Have them spill their secrets to you.
Yes. So, how do people see discipline? Like, I want to write every day, but I don't. There are some days, like 3 days go by and I haven't written anything, but the story is like running in my head. So, do you feel guilty for not being true to yourself? Like when you do these things, when you're just deviating from your plan, which you know will make you happy, do you feel guilty, and how do you overcome that guilt?
Excellent. That's a great question. So, writers, how do you find the discipline to write every day? It's hard, obviously, finding time to sneak away. And if you don't quite make it, do you feel guilty? Even just a little bit? Let us know. Comment down below. We would love to hear your answers. Thank you again so much, Fatema, for coming in. We will catch you next time.
Thank you. It was really nice talking to you, and thank you. You know, one of the most important things, the reason why I wanted to do this was to be able to connect to other writers like you, and I feel like the only way we are going to get the message across is when we work as a team. You know what I mean? So one supports the other or motivates the other. One thing, something you said inspires me, something I said inspires you. So I think this is a great platform, and thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So thank you, Fatema,
and
we will be sure to connect with you in the future. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too. Want to know more about the Undefeated Kingdom? Make sure you find Fatema on Twitter at FatimaTZ. She'd love to connect with other writers and start a chat. Or, if you want more authors to connect with, check out this week's Quick Pitches.
Hi guys, I'm James, author of the young adult relationship novel The Deal, my work in progress that I'm currently editing, seeking beta readers for, and getting ready to send out on queries. It tells the story of two best friends, Michael and Jolene, who agree to have sex before the end of the summer when they go separate ways to different colleges. But at its heart, it is a story about the relationships that surround us and how our expectations can shape them for better or worse. If you have any questions, tweet me at NounSecretor, and if you're feeling really daring, follow me.
I'm Richard Titoni, and my novel Beyond the Blue Kite is a contemporary fiction about a teen whose troubles with illegal drugs and struggles with mental illness, along with pharmaceuticals, lead him down a crazy path where he has to confront reality, his mother, his grandfather, his drug-dealing cousin, and his family's demons. Once you get drawn into Beyond the Blue Kite, it floats eerily between cool realism and dark fiction. Beyond the Blue Kite is launching later this year. Watch for it.
That's about it for our confessions today. I hope you enjoyed meeting Fatema, James, and Richard. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you follow, like, subscribe, connect below, and make sure that, of course, if you are interested in any of the amazing authors that you met today, you are connecting with them on Twitter and asking them how you can find out more about their books. If you want to be on Author Confession, of course, please, please, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can email me at authorconfession@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter at _JM_Sullivan. I look forward to chatting with you. Don't forget, it's Valentine's week, so give your characters some love and get those words in. And of course, until next week, happy writing.